CBCstereo.com if email is your preference. Right now, time for that special super duper Radiohead session that I was teasing you about earlier. It was quite a day here yesterday, quite a day here. We were down in Studio 2, which is 2 floors down. No, 1 floor down from here at CBC Vancouver. It's the big studio. It's got a grand piano and a drum kit and a Hammond organ and all sorts of stuff. Thom Yorke from Radiohead came in, and we thought, he'll just play a couple songs, talk about the bends, whatever, thank you, goodbye. Well, as it so happens, John Auer and Ken Stringfellow from the Posies were also in the building. We did a little recording with them, and you'll be hearing more of that session next week. But as it so happens, Ken and John from the Posies had met the guys from Radiohead in England about 2 years ago when the band was recording the bends, and Radiohead are big Posies fans, and apparently Thom especially doesn't like playing with just anyone. He's finicky about who he plays his music with. It took him a while to decide, but he eventually acquiesced to playing with John and Ken, who are amazing. These guys are like studio players. They can get behind any instrument and play any style and just jam. So what you're about to hear is that impromptu get-together with 2 Posies and a Radiohead. But first, how it went when Thom Yorke from Radiohead entered Studio 2 at CBC Vancouver yesterday. The sound of diminished chords coming from the guitar of Thom Yorke of Radiohead, and I'm in Studio 2 at CBC Vancouver, and Thom from Radiohead is here. Newly learned diminished chords.
Yes.
You didn't know about them before? You were just dealing, with major chords and a couple of dominant sevenths?
Sort of like, yeah, I think so. I think I might have learned them when I did classical guitar, but I forgot or something.
So this should open up a whole new world of music to you.
Well, it's not really, come on, that's not a rock and roll chord, is it? You can't go, and then it's jazz.
Yeah, but you can do whatever you want.
Oh, yeah.
There are no rules. Well, I want to talk to you about, what's happened over the past year, and also the mad cow disease that I saw on the news the other night that's, happening in Britain. But first...
That's far more important.
Of course it is. But first, let's have a song from you. From the bends.
What, now? Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. This is called Street Spirit. Here it goes.
Thank you, Thom Yorke of Radiohead here at Studio 2 CBC Vancouver. What's wrong, Thom? You have a bad throat today?
Yes, thank you.
But no, you sound great. You're hitting the low notes, the high notes.
You should have heard me half an hour ago.
How does it feel, though?
It just hurts. It's because we're going over the mountains from Edmonton and Calgary, and I've discovered that incredibly cold weather is the worst thing for my throat, apart from drugs and alcohol. Cold weather is third. And it's agony. But there you go, that's life. That's all right, it's my job.
You have been staying away from the British beef as well, haven't you? Yeah. But you were back in Oxford in January, right? Mm-hmm. You're telling me you didn't eat one hamburger?
I do not eat meat. I haven't eaten meat for 5 years.
You see, so you knew before everybody else.
Well, yeah, but, but I'm still, they said something about the incubation time for the poisoned meat is 10 to 15 years or something.
Okay, so you're not off scot-free yet.
No,
not yet. Now, the band took January off to do some writing, right? Not really taking time off, just taking time off from the road. I'm wondering how you go from that, the grind of every day it's a new city, it's another show, it's a million interviews, to actually sitting down and, immersing yourself in the creative process. How do you do that?
I didn't. That's because I don't know. I think we got off tour before Christmas, and the final thing we did was just such an amazing end to the year. We did this K-Rock thing, which is his radio station, LA radio station, the most powerful station in America. And I won't be rude about them on the radio because it's not a good idea. And in actual fact, we really enjoyed it, and we were dreading it, and we were having to play with all these extremely famous bands, and we're thinking, Oasis and stuff. And we thought, oh my God. But it was really good fun, and we were on a real high from that. And then to go back home was sit down in a space, sit still for more than half an hour was almost impossible, really, because we were all sort of really excited. And so I think I spent most of January desperately trying to chill out. and just not succeeding at all. In February we started rehearsing and recording and stuff, and it went all right, but I don't think we're ready yet. You know, that's why we're back out. Basically, we're not the momentum of the Bends is still here.
I know,
You
a year later, it's,
Yeah.
I mean,
in
it's
fact-
top 20 in the States and in Canada. I dropped my pen.
and in fact, it's sort of, yeah, I mean, it's sort of kicking off, and it just feels like it's, you know, the beast isn't dead yet, so we're not in any hurry to follow it up, because it's you know, it's one of those records that's going to last a bit longer than a couple of months, I think. So, and also, you know, the next album has to be better. So, by that token, we've got to sort of change and stuff. I mean, you know, we're getting. I spent most of February learning how to use samplers and things, because I think I'm really into the idea, you know, and probably people going, oh my god, but
And
you know,
learning diminished chords from Johnny,
yeah,
too. But that, too. So it's going to be samplers and jazz, the next Radiohead album.
I wish.
But you did write some new songs, and you'll be testing them out.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to in the band, because I mean, the thing is, for me, is I don't know whether any of them are any good. I mean, you know, I've got millions of them, but I don't know if any of them are any good, and the only way to know is to give them to the others, and we chew over them, but none of us can really decide it, because I think we're still sort of wrapped up in the momentum of the bands. And everyone else is sort of like, you know, there are lots of songs that I think are a lot better than the songs in the Bends, but it's sort of, I can't tell yet, you know, because when we did the Bends, we were so desperate to make an album, because we'd been, you know, following Creep around for so long, and no one had given us a chance, and now the record company is saying to us, take as long as you want to do this album. You can take a year, 2 years. And we're going, really? And we think they're joking, but they're not. They mean it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
For us.
So you're going to play another song now. Is this going to be one of the new songs? No.
No, I think I'm going to play, if I can remember it, I'm going to play a song called Killer Cars, which never really got a just version of it ever. There's like, the standing joke is... I think there's about 4 different versions of it, including an acoustic version of it, and we could never decide. We always wanted to put it on the record, but we could never find a version that we thought gave it justice, so that's why I keep playing it, really, just to...
And is it a B-side of a British single?
It's a B-side of a single. I can't remember which one. In fact, I think we probably put it on 2 or 3 in an attempt to share it.
Just kept trying. Okay, let's hear it now.
Okay.
Thank you. You're right. That's a really good song, Killer Cars. It's Thom Yorke from Radiohead. And just before I let you go, I want to ask you about
We're
this.
going to sell that one to Volvo, but they didn't want it.
Well, who does? Nobody wants that. They don't want that. No, not that they don't want the song. They don't want, you know, killer and cars together. That's not the image they want. No. I was reading in, again, one of the English magazines about how all you were doing in your spare time was looking for real estate, and you actually bought a house, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought a house. I became a normal person with a mortgage, and it's very strange, but you know.
But you're never there.
No,
so you're not really a normal person.
My contribution to being domestic was I had to look after the goldfish. We have these beautiful oriental goldfish that were in the bottom of the garden, and I had to look after them over Christmas because it was snowing all the time, and you know, there was like a foot of snow, and you had to knock a hole in the ice to keep them the oxygen for the fish, and I just completely forgot, and I went down there after 3 days. And the worst thing about it was there was the place where the hole had been, and there was just the 2 big fish, you know, with their mouths going right next to the hole, just coming out of the ice, and
they were getting the bends.
Yeah, right. They'd frozen over and they'd suffocated, and I felt so bad about that.
Oh no,
it was awful, actually.
And are you really calling it the house that Creep built? I know in England houses have names like High Chimneys, Primrose Mansion. The house that Creep built.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, but I had the first person knock at the door, knowing where I lived, a first fan, and that was really horrible, actually.
What do they want?
Well, they didn't want anything. In fact, she just stood there, and she was very sweet. She just said, "Sorry, I just had to knock at the door and have you come to the door." I was like, well.
The least she could do was feed the goldfish.
Yeah.
Well, Thom, this is your life. We have some special guests here in the studio, and Radiohead fans too. Look at this, everybody. It's John Auer and Ken Stringfellow from the Posies. Ow! Yay! Here they are. Now, do you guys all know each other, or
we've met? We got drunk one night when we were making the bands. in London, wasn't it?
Oh, right, with John Leckie. Now, where was that at? That was...
Was it Rack Studios? Was
Yeah. Dreadful place.
I didn't like it. What are we gonna do?
I mean, we can try it. I mean, it's just it's this new song, and it probably won't work at all. But
I can follow anything if you want to.
actually,
stop.
well, we could do Fake Plastic Trees. That might be cool. Or we could do somebody else's.
We do an Oasis song.
Yeah.
No.
I can do a great imitation.
You can do a Gallagher, brother? Okay, let's see.
Yeah,
do
no
it. Do a Gallagher. Come on.
Said maybe. Is this abysmal or what?
Yeah.
Okay. It's always good to make fun of Oasis, though. So.
They don't mind actually. They're all right with it.
I mean, we could just do. Let's play along with you on on one of your songs, man.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a drummer?
That's it. I can play drum.
John's a really good drummer.
We could try that.
Now that was cool. Thanks, you guys. That's Thom Yorke of Radiohead, joined by Posies' John Hour on drums. Let's hear it for John. And Ken Stringfellow on guitar. And I guess one day, don't be surprised, any of you, if you find like a bootleg of that, like in a record store in Stockholm or something. No, I'm not going to do it, but you know, things.
Yeah, maybe it should be limited by treaties to what territories it can come out in.
We'll do the paper.
Andorra, yes.
Bolivia, no. Thanks, all of you.
Pleasure.
Cool.
Bye.
Jazz, man.
I enjoyed that.